Hey, welcome again to Gracie Schwarzwald. I'm here with Erkan Mete, and we're continuing on with our complete Gracie Self-Defense Course. And right now our focus is on takedowns, and we're going to start with our very first takedown technique, and that is the basic hip throw. There are a lot of variations of this throw, but the mechanics for this are going to kind of apply across the board. So this is going to be a throw where we're both facing the same way. I'm going to basically turn my back to him. A lot of people in the beginning feel very nervous about this. They think they're giving up their back. But if you have the right controls, it's not going to be a problem. Now, the way we're going to teach this is around the body. This throw can be done around the head. This throw can be done around the arms. All of these doesn't really matter, but for the purpose of learning this throw, especially because for a lot of the fundamental self-defense, we're working on body clinches. Okay, so it's an easy transition to this. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is start from our modified seatbelt position. I feel like this is the best position to kind of learn this throw from. Okay, so can I get you to turn this way? Okay, so just to make it easy, I'm going to step in. Again, I'm connected to him here. I don't want to be out here like this. Okay, I'm holding his waist here, and I'm overhooking his arm. His wrist is in my armpit. With my hand, I'm holding his above the elbow at the tricep. My head is in his jaw right here. Now, Jiu-Jitsu is?
Lazy.
Okay, I take the takedown he's going to give me. So when I'm practicing this takedown, very important, I want his feet to be side by side and a relatively neutral stance. If his feet are very wide, I'm going to have a lot harder problem with this takedown. I also want him to either be fairly upright or ideally even a little bit bent forward. Okay, if I try to step in and he's got a really good solid posture like this, I'm going to have a hard time throwing him. Okay, so when I'm here, one thing I can do is just kind of bend him forward a little bit, not too far forward, just a slight bend. And again, notice his stance, normal stance. So what I want to do is from here, you can either go 1, 2. I will personally go 1, 2. Now, very important, I want my feet either directly in front of his or even better inside. So one mistake people do is they'll go very wide now. Okay, and I'll cover why that'll be a problem in a minute. Okay, so from here, I want to step in front. I'm on the ball of my foot. I rotate my hips and I bring this foot in. Very important. Don't step where my foot is still outside his foot. I want to bring that foot in. Now, where people will have trouble with this is they're holding too tight here. So they step and they get stuck. So I'm going to get you to turn this way. So as I step, I'll just let my hand slide. It doesn't need to be holding it very tightly for that. Okay, that'll stop you stepping in front. So just let the hand relax. I'm here and I'm here. Now when I step in, very important for this throw, I want my hips lower than his hips. Okay, at least equal to his hips. So if he's, just say you were crouching, if I stepped in and my hips were higher, I'm not going to be able to do this throw. I want my legs bent, which is why we don't have our legs out wide, because now it's very hard to bend them. I want the weight on the balls of my feet, and I want my back relatively up. So one thing you'll see is people will have the feet wide locked, and they're already bent over. And now, I can barely get them off the ground, and I'm probably going to end up landing on my face. So when I step in front, I step, I'm on the ball of my feet, my back is relatively upward, okay? Here my knees are bent, my hips are lower. This way, when I lift my hips, I can lift him, okay? If my legs are already straight, and I go to lift, there's no lift, okay? So, can I get you to come back here? Turn this way. Here. Now, the way I like to think about it is where people have trouble is when they step in front, they just kind of bend over, okay? I want to straighten my legs as my head comes down. But most of it is, and you've gotten good at this, is yes, I'm using my hips to scoop him up. I'm not really so much just kind of doing like this. My hips will pick him up. It's a very important distinction. All right, so we're here. I step in front, And actually, if I can, I'll even turn my hips a little bit this way. The main mistake I see people do with this kind of throw, and there's other throws where we can adjust for this, but is their hip, see how his hip is outside my hip? When I go to throw him now, he's simply going to jump to the side and I lose the position. Or even if I get him up a little bit, he'll roll down the side of my leg and he'll be landing over here rather than in front of me. So I want to make sure to block him with my hips. So now if he tried to go around my legs, it's a lot harder. Okay. Again, notice I'm not looking down. Okay. When I step in front here, I'm looking forward. Then my head goes down, my legs straighten, I scoop with my hips here. Then my legs are locked. Now, I should be able to hold him here for a very long time. My legs bend, you're going to end up collapsing down. So I go here, straighten my legs as I scoop with my hips, bring my head down. My legs will be pretty much locked, not 100%. There's still a slight bend, but this way I can hold his weight even if he's very large. This is where people have trouble with a big guy. They step in and they're like this, or their legs are still bent, and then they just end up getting squashed. You're going to hold up a lot of weight here. Now, the one problem I see a lot of people when they do a pretty good job up to this point, but then what happens? The person falls off to the side like this. Besides him not landing where I want him to land, there's always a danger that he's going to land on my leg. Okay? So how do I do that? If my shoulders never get below my hips, there's absolutely no way he can go this way. Okay? So I need to bring my shoulders below my hips. So as I scoop and I lift my hips, look, my head comes all the way down. That's why it's important to practice, your toe touches. So I'm here, I step in front, I bring my hips through, look, I scoop them up, I bring my head. My head is above my hips, I bring my head below. Now my arms come across, he's here. That little detail, you felt yourself start to slide forward, right? Mm-hmm. Yep. So it's not this, where he just falls to the side. I want to bring my head down. Now, I'm holding all his weight on my hips. My arms, once I get here, all they'll do is they'll just bring him across. It's not an arm throw. I'm not doing a lot of power with the arms. I'm lifting, holding, shoulders come below my hips, my arms come across, and I want him to land directly in front of me. One of the differences in judo and jiu-jitsu, if I get you in a big throw in judo and plant you hard there,
you won.
Flat on your back, I win.
Yeah.
Right? In jiu-jitsu, what does this mean? Now I got to go chase you.
Yeah.
Right? So less is more sometimes. I don't want to throw him very far. I want him to land right here where I can control him. So we're here. I step in front. I lift. I bring my head down. My arms cut across. And now look. If he tries to move now, I'm already in a good position for control. Okay. Let's do it. I'm not going to throw you obviously into the fence. I just want them to see it. From here, I step in, feet are turned, I scoop. Practice when you're practicing this, holding the guy, bring your head down, and I'm kind of holding on to him as he lands. Now, one problem people have with this technique practicing is a bad uke. Your uke, when you're practicing, is not there to challenge you or test the technique. Okay? He's there actually to help you get the technique right. As you get better, maybe he can throw a little bit of resistance in. But I know the technique he's practicing. It does him no good for me to resist. And one of the problems people do is, yeah, they just become a rag doll. And here, okay? In a fight, have you ever seen anybody just kind of,
no.
I mean, unless it's a zombie or something, right?
Yeah.
Here, so one thing he can do to help me, let's turn this way, is he'll actually stiffen his body, especially his legs. This is really helpful if you're a smaller person practicing with a bigger person, to stiffen your legs so that you're actually much lighter. If he just drapes his legs down, yeah, it's going to take me a lot more work, a lot more effort, which also means there's more chance for one of us being injured practicing the move. So one more time. I'm here. Always start here. Okay, don't start in. If you start in the same position every time, the pathway will be easier to remember and to get right. If I start a different way, it's like driving. It's much harder for me to remember where I'm going if I start a different place each time. Okay, so I go here, slide bend, step inside his foot, rotate my hips, bring the other foot in, hips out, lift, hold, I can stay here very long. Head goes down, arms chop across. I control the arm. He does a great break fall. We're right into controlling position. This move, the mechanics will be the same if I'm controlling the head, the same if I'm controlling the arm. Once you learn these basic mechanics, they'll apply for many of the same exact type of hip throw. And that is, I think, your fundamental takedown, one you should practice as often as possible.